This is a Castle Dragon build that you can use for Sin and Legendary Dragon. It's based on the Lightning Town Archer setup, and in this video we will go through all the units, the skill tree, everything regarding the build, and also the differences that you want to have depending which dragon you are fighting. The differences itself are extremely small. The layout on the left is what you would be using if you are fighting Sin or the earlier dragons, and the layout on the right is what you would be using if you are fighting the Legendary Dragon. Can you spot the differences right now? Don't worry, we will go through them, so just pay attention throughout this video. So let's dig into the build right away, and our damage dealers in this build are exactly the same as in the Wave build. I will link that in the description if you haven't seen it already. One of them are the Town Archers. Now when we are fighting Sin or the early dragons, we won't be having items on them, but once we get to the Legendary Dragon part, then you will want to have S tier items on your Town Archers. All of our damage dealers are set to target the boss monsters for these builds so that they can target the dragons a little bit more often. That means you can kill them a little bit faster, hopefully. Our heroes are almost basically the same as in the Wave build. We have Dark Necromancer in here to apply the curse on the dragon. It does work on him and it's an extremely strong buff, so make sure to include Necromancer in here. Try to get his cooldown to be lower than Pure Wizard. It's not maybe the most important thing in dragon builds compared to Wave build, but also it does help you if you can do that. And of course then we have the Pure Wizard in here like in every other build, so make sure to have him so that you can cast your things more often, especially because you have to manually play the dragons instead of doing waves with auto battle or doing infinite calling with auto battle. You have to do this manually. There's no way you can automatically battle any dragon. Then we have Zeus, one of the damage dealers in this setup. Will be doing a bit more damage in Sin and the early dragons than in the Legendary Dragon build. You will see the differences very soon. But again, will be set to target the boss monster because he's one of the main damage dealers in this build. On the second row we have Dark Hunter, who is responsible of giving the haste buff to your Town Archers. This is again the core you need to have in your Town Archer setup. So if you use Town Archers for damage, you will want to have Dark Hunter and Dark Skeleton especially in your build. Both of these heroes are responsible of buffing your Town Archer so that you can get rid of that damn dragon, that damn lizard a little bit faster. Their targetings don't matter, their levels don't matter, they only need to apply the buffs to your Town Archers. Then we get to our first hero that will kind of depend on where you are at your game. Are you fighting the early dragons or the Legendary Dragon? Now this Dark Lightning Archer promotion is what we are using for Sin and the earlier dragons because we are using a lightning build. So we have the lightning hero in here, set to target the boss monster, all the same as in your Wave build. But if we are going for the Legendary Dragon, we will be going for the physical path in the skill tree, which you will see in a moment. In that case, we will want to use the Dark Bowmaster promotion instead, because she is of a physical type that will give her better boost in that case. So when you are fighting the Legendary Dragon, use the Dark Bowmaster promotion. When you are fighting Sin and the earlier dragons, or if you are anyway using the Lightning tree, then you can use the Dark Lightning Archer promotion. So this is a difference that you have to make depending which dragon you are fighting. On the third row, we have Chrono. Chrono increases game speed, which means faster dragon kills, which means you can get more farming done within, let's say you farm for 20 minutes, you can get more kills in. Extremely handy thing to have. It's just you just want to have increased game speed when you are fighting dragons, because faster farming, more items, that's just more efficient. Then we have Smith. Smith is used for healing, and in dragon build, Smith doesn't really need any items, because you should only be, if you need to cast Smith, you only need to cast him once. If you are fighting a dragon where you find yourself in need to cast Smith multiple times during the run, then that kill time will be so slow that I really cannot recommend you fighting that dragon right at that moment. Instead, you should be doing other stuff to get stronger instead and come back later. But Smith can be used to heal you once during your battle, so once you get access to E-tier items, use E-tier items with damage skill level, hero damage skill level, cooldown skill level, useful E-lines on this hero. That is completely fine. He doesn't need anything else for this setup. Our another healer, like maybe a little bit more important healer, especially when we go to Legendary Dragon, is the Dark Elf. Dark Elf is responsible, just like in Colony build, for example, healing us throughout the battle. So once you can get access to +1 arrow, L and E tier items, try to get these for your Dark Elf. I do have only one in this setup for this early game account, so even that's fine, but eventually we want to have that line on both of your items. Also set to target the boss, so she can hit the boss monster and heal you while doing that. And your goal is that Dark Elf's healing should be able to somewhat outweigh the damage the dragon is giving you, so you can just kind of survive along from that. Eventually your kill time will be fast enough that you won't be needing neither of these healers, but early on when you're getting your first kills in, you definitely need to have at least one of them, probably both of them in your setup. Then on our last row we have two guys to boost our defense. We have the blue defender to give us castle defense and give us castle HP, so this will help us tank more hits, survive a little bit longer, so that we can actually kill the dragons a little bit earlier. Again, later on you probably won't be needing this, but you can just stack this hero again with E tier items once you eventually get access to those. So if you're fighting Sin and the earlier dragons, ignore anything I say about E tier items, you can't access those just yet, but once you get later parts of the game, you will want to add some E tier items in here. The druid is here for the same reason, giving us castle defense, so whenever you can get an access to +1 summon unit L tier or E tier items, get these to druid so you can get more ends. You can get up to 3 ends, which gives you 15% castle defense. This helps you again tank more hits from the dragon so that you can survive a little bit more. And finally we have the Dark Assassin, who is, like in other builds also in here, responsible of applying the critical damage debuff to the dragon. Set him to target the boss monster as well. This will help your damage dealers to claim more damage to the dragon, make the kill time a little bit faster. He does not need to be leveled, the only thing he needs to do is apply the debuff. So the only line basic that you want for this hero is attack speed for your dragon setups. Then we go to our leader, and our leader in here is Thor because we are using the lightning build. If you're using some other build, if you're using pure Town Master build for example, you can use another leader in here, whatever you have leveled for that case. But we are using Thor because it's a lightning build, so also Thor is set to target the boss monster as well for this build. Then we go to the castle parts, and now comes the second change depending which dragon you are fighting. So our base in here is the lightning castle to boost our lightning units. So if you're fighting the Sin or the earlier dragons, red, green, black dragon, then you will want to have the lightning castle to boost your lightning units damage. If you are fighting Legend Dragon, you are probably better off with using the stone castle instead to boost your physical units damage. This will give you more healing for your Dark Elf, so you can survive more easier. And also it will boost your Dark Bowmaster as well if you're using Dark Bowmaster. This unfortunately does mean that our Thor and Zeus will be kinda weak in this setup when you find Legend Dragon, but this should be the better option to go. You can try whichever base works for you, which is a faster kill time when you're fighting the Legend Dragon. This one or the Lightning Castle, but most likely the Stone Castle is what you want in that case. And Shield Castle is what you want in both setups so that you can tank more hits. More defense, more tankiness, that is a good thing in this game. The rest of your slots in here are empty, so whatever you may have leveled, you can use them in here, but they won't really be doing all of that much, so just use the highest level castle parts that you have. If you don't have anything leveled, then just leave that empty, that's completely fine, it won't make a huge difference in this case. In the tower section in here, we just have the mirror and the worm. You probably don't need to mirror your worms to get enough MP for this build. However, you can do this because there's not really any other towers that we need for this setup. If you have leveled the Thunder Tower, then you can of course use Thunder Tower in your build. In that case, in here, that is a completely fine option, and you can put like defensive barracks or Frozen Tower or something else on this last slot. That really won't make any difference because they won't really be doing anything to the dragon itself. And then finally, the things behind our castle. These will be the same in both setups. We have the Uniguild to boost our heroes and our town archers. We have Spring Water so that we can cast everything more often. More often means faster kills, faster farming. And then we have Force to give us more castle HP so that we can again tank a couple of more normal hits from the dragons, which can help us survive the initial kills. We don't need really anything else in here. If you have slingers for some reason in here, then you could use bar, but slingers are not great against dragons, so I really would not recommend having slingers in this setup in this case. If you do have 13th hero slot, then you can think of putting something else in here. If you need to get rid of the ground monsters or something. You can use Ice Wizard to control them. You can use Dorothy to apply poison debuff to the ground monsters. The poison debuff does not work on the dragons, but it can help you survive if you need to kill the ground monsters faster, if they are still be able to storm you and kill you. So in that case, Dorothy might be an option to use in the 13th slot. Still following? Great. The next thing we will go through is the treasures. This is the same for both setups, no matter which dragon you are fighting, so no need to worry about that. We have the Cursed Knife to boost our Town Archer's damage. Then we have the Strange Key, which is something that must be included in your dragon and dungeon build. So as soon as you can save up for this treasure when you start playing this game, buy this and use it whenever you do dungeons or dragons. If you don't use this, if you don't boost your drop rates, you're essentially just wasting time doing those. So this must be included in your dragon builds. If you feel you would need to use a defensive treasure in here in order to survive, then I don't think it's really worth for you to be doing that dragon or dungeon yet. You wanna really wanna have that treasure in here. Then we have Power Claw to boost all of our damage. Also gives us more healing from Dark Elf as well. So that's more damage and more healing, very convenient. And same thing for Sub Arrow, gives us more damage and also more healing because it boosts also Dark Elf's critical chance. So that means more healing for us. And the last one we have is the Mechanic Giver to boost our archers' attack speed by 20%. Now this will give us more damage for our town archers. If you really need something to survive, then you could use Unicorn Shield in here to tank a little bit more hits. The web does not help you against dragon attacks, so use Unicorn Shield instead if you need one defensive treasure. But I would just use the Mechanic Giver in here to give you faster kill time instead. Okay, before we go through the skill tree, I will show you a Legendary Dragon battle and how I'm using this build. Our altar of choice is the Altar of Death, so that we can instantly deal 20% damage to the Legendary Dragon. So, let's start the battle, and I will instantly cast the altar, and then I will keep on cycling through all of my damage dealer buffs, so Town Archer buffs, Dark Bowmaster and Zeus, and whenever I can cast Pure Wizard, I will do that. Also, Necromancer will be cast at the same time as you cast your damage units and your buffs. Now, as you can see, I could out-heal the Legendary Dragon's attack with my Dark Elf alone, so I don't really need the Smith in this setup currently. But you would probably want it for your first kills, or if you don't have +1 arrow line for your Dark Elf, for example, in that case you will need to have Smith. Or if you don't have Dark Elf level for some case, then you of course will need to have Smith to survive the dragon. But that's how you do the battle. It's not that complicated. Dark Assassin does not need to be cast, he just needs to use normal attack against the dragon, and that's gonna be fine. Now let's go through the skill tree next. First of all, we will start with this lightning setup. This is for Sin and the earlier dragons. I will link an image version of this and the Legendary Dragon build in the description as well, so you can check an image version out if you want to. This is for your early game, so fighting Sin or earlier dragons, depending how many skill points you have. It's basically just the same as what you use for waving. So if you use waving lightning build and you have a lightning skill tree in there, it's just copy that and you will be good to go. There's no differences here. If you had more points, you would go up again. You would take the archer trio node, the bow node, and the physical tree and the town archer section. But you don't really have to worry about that, because once you are strong enough to challenge the Legendary Dragon, we can instead start our skill tree from the physical path. Again, so the small changes were that we were using Dark Bowmaster instead of Dark Lightning Archer, and the Stone Castle base instead of the Lightning base. Those were the only changes in the build itself. And the third change is that we can start from the physical path. This gives us enormous amount of healing for our Dark Elves so that we can survive the dragon's attacks more easily. This also boosts our Dark Bowmaster a lot, who is an extremely nice boss killer, because we will be getting the strafe nodes in here. This is a huge boost for your Dark Bowmaster's damage. Also, we will be getting the bow node and the archer trio node in here, which also will boost your Bowmaster damage again. And in the physical tree itself, there is this node which will give you +1 arrow for your Dark Elf. This is a tremendous boost for Dark Elf's healing, so number one thing you really want in this tree. Then we have the blood node. This sounds scary because it means you will be taking damage when you cast your physical units, but the benefits from this are greater than the negatives, so you do want to have this one in your setup. It boosts your damage for your Bowmaster, but it also boosts your damage for your Dark Elf, so you also get more healing when you're using this node in here. And of course in here we have the Dark Elf node, so that we can get a bit more healing. So we can easily get like the full physical tree. This is what you would need from this build, for this build. And then we can go, the important thing in here is we can go and claim the Town Archer nodes in here. That means we can use S tier items when we are fighting the Lesser Dragon. So our Town Archers and Bowmaster will be the two key core units taking care of the Lesser Dragon. Now, if you're fighting Lesser Dragon and you feel like this setup with the physical path is not working for you, if you have overlevel Thor and Zeus compared to Town Archers, for example, then you can try if the lightning tree works for you. Like, just time which one is faster for you. For this account, this physical tree is faster and also more survivable. I don't need to cast Smith. If I use the lightning tree, then I need to cast Smith during my battle for the Lesser Dragon. But you can try this for yourself. Both trees will work, but I would recommend going for the physical when you're fighting the Legendary Dragon. Any questions? Feel free to drop a comment down below. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the Discord. The link is in the description if you have not joined there yet. Bye bye my friends. Stay safe.